So a few years back, Bethesda was just telling people to post using hashtag BE3, and it all felt very fake, very corporate. It was at that point that I made a prediction on my live stream, and later mirrored it in a video, that Bethesda was going down the route of EA, slowly but surely. This was, again, a few years ago, and the majority of the people at the time said Bethesda would never be like EA. I was presented with countless reasons why my idea was wrong, and how Bethesda just needs to be given a chance. Now, my hunch was entirely based on how they handled PR of E3. So a company starts out, most often built on creative wishes. You'll get a person who is a creator, I will refer to them as creatives. You'll get a creative who comes in with an idea. And it is by the virtue of their idea that the company is successful, because it has brought something to the market that sets itself apart from everything else in the market. It has become successful. Maybe it improves on everything else in that particular area. Doesn't matter. It stands apart and therefore stands above. The company, therefore, is profitable and expands and grows. And then over time, at the behest of investors, accountants, planners, and optimizers, all of these people come in and see how to best streamline and refine the creative process so that they can continue to do what they were doing, but better. At least in their minds. Better being financially better for the company. What ends up happening, though, is the original creatives get forced out, or they get promoted to the point where they are no longer involved directly into projects anymore. They get promoted out of usefulness. Again, I've been around long enough to see companies decay in this way, where the soul of the company is rotted from the inside out. And when I saw Morgan Webb and Adam Sessler brought in to talk about Bethesda games, I realized this stage of the decay. Video game pseudo-celebrities engage in nostalgia pandering while an announcer reminds everyone to put out your tweets with the hashtag BE3, so everyone's on the same page, building up hype in the right area. Or from a salesman's standpoint, it was about generating excitement. If you generate excitement in a prospective client or customer, it will translate into purchase intent. Working in sales and marketing in the past has allowed me to break down these marketing techniques. So when you see an advertisement, you might get excited, right? Whereas I see the components of the sales pitch built into the advertisement, the intent behind the advertisement. It doesn't mean I don't get excited for games I want to play, but when I look at something that's entirely pre-rendered with no gameplay, like Vampire the Masquerade or Elder Scrolls 6's teaser, I know that they've conveyed no information about the product itself, and I do not feel excitement for it. I feel hope that it might reach my expectations, but I've been around long enough to see enough failures to understand that it's a 50-50 shot, whether it will be good or not. Anyway, so a couple of years passed, and we had a few more hints drop, and finally in March of 2018, before the Fallout 76 announcement, I again touched on my previous points, also pointing out that Bethesda Game Studios is a developer, not Bethesda Softworks the publisher, had previously had an operating policy of only working on one game at a time. Things like Elder Scrolls Online or Elder Scrolls Legends were handled by entirely separate studios, using Bethesda Softworks as a publisher. But Bethesda Game Studios, you see in the past, they overreached when they were working on Redguard, Battlespire, and then later the unrealized 10th Planet. They tried to expand too quickly, and they nearly went bankrupt, with ZeniMax Media being created and acquiring them, purchasing them outright. This purchase allowed them the capital in order to continue to operate. And so all the developers entered the ZeniMax family. As Morrowind entered production, it was decided that from then on, they would only work on one game at a time. Soon afterwards, the creator of Bethesda, the overall company, was ousted and had to sue to get his severance pay. But Morrowind went on to be a success, and we all know how things worked out from there. Bethesda Game Studios went on to produce Oblivion, Fallout 3, Skyrim, and Fallout 4. Games like Fallout Shelter and Elder Scrolls Legends were produced by third parties, not Bethesda Game Studios itself. Bethesda Game Studios worked exclusively one game at a time. When Bethesda Game Studios started opening other branches, this was a red flag. Their operating method had changed. Another red flag was when the former Battlecry Studios was absorbed into Bethesda Game Studios and set up as a live service division. It was at that point that I called shenanigans and said that their next game was going to be live service garbage. People did not agree with me and saw fit to tell me how wrong I was. And they cited Bethesda's commitment to single player. And well, I never once said that Bethesda would only be multiplayer live service garbage from now on. People balked at the idea of the next unannounced game being live service garbage. Later that year, Fallout 76's announcement came around. And while I was wrong on one thing, while the very unprofessional Bethesda hype stream was going on, I thought it was going to promote a Switch version of Fallout 4, Turned out that Fallout 76 was announced. I was flooded with questions. What do you think about Fallout 76? Remember, at this point, we knew nothing about it. We saw no gameplay. This was a pre-rendered trailer. Remember earlier when I said I don't get excited about trailers without substance? Fallout 76's trailer was no exception. What do you think about a practically non-existent teaser trailer? If this were one of those YouTube channels, the ones desperate for new Bethesda content, and this were the one and only job, I'm sure I'd have made a video about it. But sitting from the current position, where I can pick and choose the topics that I want to cover on this channel, well, the topic of Fallout 76 was not even on my radar at the time. Which is funny because these days, Fallout 76 is one of those topics that is just so special. It's such a dumpster fire that I have so much to say on the topic. I can tell you right now, this will not be the last video where I talk about Fallout 76, and in fact, expect one pretty well soon. But I can tell you that it's not because talking about Fallout 76 is popular, not because it gets clicks. There is just so much to unpack, and it's still relevant to recent discussions I've had either on Discord or in other areas, especially because they continue to update the damn thing. But at the time, my answer to people on the Fallout 76 question was more or less, don't know, have no opinion. This is not video worthy at this time, thank you. I was too busy playing existing games, ones, I actually had, not this trailer. So moving along, news came in that Fallout 76 wasn't going to be on Steam. And I made a video about the topic, insulting the many, many people who were asking me about it. You'll find that me insulting my audience for asking stupid questions is a common occurrence. I know it has certainly cost me a few new people looking to give me donations. I'll never support you again. But I will never lose any sleep over that. My right to be a jerk trumps any potential income I could get for being a disingenuous prick who pretends to be your friend. Hello, fellow kids. Want to play some Fortnite? I already observed a pattern with Fallout Shelter and Elder Scrolls Legends. There's an introductory period where they placed these games on Bethesda.net and then shifted them to Steam in order to get a second launch worth of players. And you know what? It worked. Twice. The games both had revitalized player bases via the Steam release. It's a solid strategy, and I pointed out that they were going to do it again with Fallout 76. That was in 2 separate videos I pointed that out. So now, with maximum rage against the Epic Store. They are capitalizing on that rage by announcing Fallout 76 coming to Steam eventually. This means that they'll get their second wind by people picking it up on Steam. You know, all those people who said, "I'm not going to buy this until it's on Steam." They're counting on those people. Bethesda is depending on those people. They established that strategy and it works. So, with Fallout 76 tightening their monetization, a topic that I think bears explaining on its own in a separate video, people are now looking at Elder Scrolls Blades and its heavy microtransactions and saying, they're becoming pretty greedy like EA. Can you believe this? And that's the last part I find a little bit surprising, considering some of these people are avid viewers who I'm sure have seen the video and simply forgotten about it. Not just the random people who I know haven't seen the video. So now here I'm standing saying, I told you so. And you know what? It's not satisfying at all. When I make these negative predictions, I want to be wrong. I want to be proven wrong, that these companies are going to correct course and do the right thing. Sadly, right now they're only doing the right thing by their investors, not their customers. Bethesda's decay is right on schedule, and it does not make me happy. But hey, at least we got some old games which are really fun. So what do you guys think? Is Bethesda sinking to the level of EA? And if by chance you happen to say something along the lines of, they're not that bad, that means they are bad. They're just not that bad. Any time anyone makes an argument of not that bad, that means they're conceding the badness exists. And badness should never be a standard we aspire to. Check the links on screen for more content. I'll see y'all next time.